Today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report, we'll review the Tigers' season opener against Mount St. Mary's. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
Wise Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How could you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Hello, fans, and welcome to today's episode of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas. Towson opened up their season at the Mount and came out on top 13-5. Let's take a look at the highlights.
So here comes Mount St. Mary's on the run. Feed to Lehman, shoots, scores. So Ryan Lehman with his first goal of the year, and the first scored against Towson with 5:13 remaining here in the first quarter. Drenner coming up the left, trying to move in. Fires off his knees and scores. Ryan Drenner with the first goal for the Tigers this year. And we are tied at 1 with 4:06 to go in the first quarter. To Spencer Smith. Back in front, one-on-one shot and a score for Mount St. Mary's kid Chris DiProtoro. Not much that Josh Miller could do about that, as DiProtoro was wide open about 3 yards from the crease. Now pulls out, throws it back to Lynch. Up top, Sider rifles a shot and scores. Joe Sider right between the wickets of Vierheller, and we're tied at 2. Started back up. Mazza comes up the left, turns, shoots and scores. John Mazza puts the Tigers on top for the first time today, 3-2 with 13:02 to go here in the first quarter. Back up top to Sider. Sider gives it back to Lynch, back to Mazza, shoots, and he's got the hat trick with 6:04 to go in the first half, and the Tigers have a 5-2 lead. He moves in, shoots and scores. Brian Bolwicki and a flag, and the Tigers are now up 6-2. DiProtoro feeds in front, flags go down, shot and a score by DiProtoro. As Drenner comes up the right side, turns and shoots, and a save there by Vierholler, but on the rejection, it's a goal for John Mazza, who's just set a career high with his 4th of the afternoon, and the Tigers are up 10-3. Passes over to Drenner, up top Sider, Joe winds, shoots, and he's got his second goal of the day. And the Tigers are up 12-3 with 9:06 to go. Turns, passes in the middle for Mazza, and John Mazza has just scored his 6th goal of the game. 13-2.
That's also called a sock trick.
33 seconds to go. Johnson comes down, he shoots, and he scores. 13-5 with 30.4 seconds left.
John Mazza with the sock trick, 6 goals. Junior goalkeeper Josh Miller recorded 11 saves. in his first career start. And as always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen. Coach, thanks for joining us. First of all, until my partner Hunter Lochte told me, I had never heard the phrase sock trick before. Were you aware of that?
I was.
What happens if you score 9? What is that?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe a pant trick? I don't know. T-shirt trick? Who knows?
Anyway, it was a great start for your team. Kind of sluggish in the first quarter. It was 2-2 at the end of the first, but then you guys dominated from there on out. I know the question marks from all the pundits coming in was the defense. Assess how you think your close defense and your goalkeeper played in game 1.
I thought Josh did a good job. Very consistent, very steady, had a good presence on the field. When he was at our end, I could hear him communicating pretty well with the defense. So those are some of the things we were keeping an eye on. And he also stole some goals, that they could have scored, stuff, with good opportunities, good spots on the field for Mount to take shots from, and Josh was able to make some nice saves. So that showed me what he's capable of, which we kind of thought going into it, and, proved himself why he was in there to be the starter. Defensively as a whole, especially with not having Jack Adams out there, I thought we were okay. Definitely had a few breakdowns, which maybe with a little bit more of a veteran presence might not have happened, just kind of falling asleep on a couple of set plays that the Mount ran. Older, more experienced guys typically can sniff those out if we haven't drilled through them and haven't seen them in film and things like that. So, overall it wasn't bad. I thought we were physical when we needed to be. I thought we were fairly disciplined and aggressive, so that was good.
One area that certainly was different than it has been in years past was at the face-off circle, where Alex Woodall was completely dominant, I think 15-17. How much easier does that make it for the team when you've got the ball all the time?
It's nice. It's a catch-22 in both regards. If you're winning a lot of face-offs, sometimes that's tough on your defense because they're not in a groove. Your goalie's not seeing shots. I remember last year when we had those, it was tough for Tyler White. We had to work with him on how to stay engaged, how to, just be ready, at the other end. Same thing on the offense. If you're losing a lot of face-offs and you're having to play a lot of defense, your offense gets a little, rushed or anxious when they do have the ball. So for us, it was a nice luxury to have against the Mount. Alex did a terrific job because they threw some different looks at him with regards to 2 poles on the wings, a pole facing off, and 3 poles up basically, and then trying to put a lot of pressure on him. He's a big athletic kid. We're working with him to continue to use his size to his advantage to protect the ball as well as give him support, when he does get it. But it was nice to see him get on the field for a full game and be able to have that kind of performance, and hopefully we can move that forward.
And then on the offensive end, obviously we mentioned John Mazza, and folks just saw the goals he scored. What was behind your decision to move him to the attack from the midfield?
The decision happened literally the week leading into the Mount game. All preseason, Tyler Conan was at attack. Johnny was at the midfield where he was last year. And, Coach Gallardi assessing our personnel. Joe Sider hadn't really been practicing on the field for a couple of weeks. Kinnear had been out with injury and illness for a couple of weeks. So we just felt like we needed a little bit more diversity down there with Johnny Mazza rather than not knowing what we were going to get out of Kinnear with him missing a little bit, moving Conan back up to midfield. Obviously it helped, in regards to the goal production. Johnny had a nice day shooting. Coach G did a good job kind of assessing that, making the move. Week of, it wasn't as fluid as we needed it to be. Johnny at attack and understanding how to play that. So obviously we're going to keep working with that. But it's nice to have a couple guys with Conan and Mazza be able to kind of bounce back and forth if we need them to.
The one area that I'm sure concerned you was the turnovers. You had 11 in the ball game. Last year you were among the nation's leaders, and for most of the year were leading the country in fewest turnovers per game. I guess this is kind of a good situation for a coach. You get a victory, but you also have a lot of teaching points you can still go back to and say, hey, okay, we won, but here's where we weren't very good.
Absolutely, and that was, kind of across the board in the game. We definitely assessed that and have been working on it in practice with how we got to continue to be better, cleaner, more efficient, riding. And clearing is definitely one of those areas as well as riding. I didn't think we made great decisions with the ball in the clearing game. We didn't press as quickly as we needed to do to try to get through that first layer of pressure. We didn't, throw, good, just simple passes, which are, again, it comes with experience, it comes with reps, and those are things we need to pay attention to.
So the Tigers get off to that 1-0 start, and that will do it for us on today's episode of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. Join us next time. We preview the Tigers game against the Hoyas of Georgetown. For head coach Shawn Nadelen, I'm Spiro Morekas. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.